You tell me when we're on.
Yes, now we are recording. Hi, everybody. This is David P. France, and I'm coming to you from Basel, Switzerland. Before we get the interview started, I would like you to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also BitChute. We're on BitChute. And also feel free to share the videos with your friends, with your family. Let them know what we're up to. We are highlighting creatives and creators, all right? So in that umbrella, we have artists, we have writers, we have inventors, we have thought leaders, we have small business people, or small business owners and entrepreneurs, people that are literally in the creation space. So with that, I want to introduce Luca Occelli. And Luca and I have known each other for a while. Currently, he is in Italy, but he is based in London. And today we're going to talk about an issue, or a few issues, that are on my mind, and perhaps you can give us some clarity. Luca is a holistic practitioner, just so you guys have an understanding. And I will let him describe or explain what that is, because I think for people that are seeing you for the first time, they may not know what that entails. So could you explain or give us an idea of what a holistic practitioner, what exactly does one who has this title and experience and knowledge do?
Sure. Holistic means whole. It means complete, so to speak. So I'm an holistic practitioner because I studied metaphysics, which is like another word for spirituality, everything that is beyond the physical. So I trained with the School of Metaphysics. I am part of the Metaphysical Society for the Expansion of Consciousness in Great Britain. I studied for 5 years. I became a metaphysical counselor and then a facilitator. And then I trained further, actually, a few more years, and I am a metaphysical teacher. I also teach courses with the School of Metaphysics. And then I have also studied clinical psychology in Italy. I got a master's degree in clinical psychology. I studied for a year and a half to become a hypnotherapist. And then I studied different modalities, EMDR, EFT. So anyway, and because I have studied metaphysics, spirituality, and counseling from a spiritual perspective and conventional scientific psychology, I regard myself to be a holistic practitioner.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
Now, I also use family constellations.
What was that? What constellation?
Family constellations.
Oh, family?
Family, yeah.
Family constellations.
Yeah, I use systemic theory to understand what's behind the dysfunctional
of a family, of a unit.
Yes, exactly. Personality in the person, but relating to the family or the social environment. So I'm very eclectic in my formation, so to speak. And
so in other words, when people see people in the field or either one of those fields, either side of those fields, they would regard you how? Let's say the counseling and then the metaphysics, those are two different things, right? From what I'm hearing from you.
It's two different. Well, I studied because normally people studied as a psychological, they study psychology. So that's a very scientific kind of
I understand.
Training, or they study metaphysics and they become metaphysical counselors. So there are two different approaches. Now, I personally believe that there's truth everywhere. Okay, each discipline has got his own perspective, which is valid. I don't think there's anything better than anything else. So I like to study, so I'm still studying, and I always will be. And I love to get whatever I think it's effective from a modality or from a theory or a perspective, a point of view regarding who we are and how we live and everything else. And yeah, so it gives me more a broader vision of what I'm doing. And yeah, so that's how I work.
It's very interesting. So it's almost like you are merging two or more different worlds, right? Is that in terms of
that's the right word you use, merging, exactly. Psychology and spirituality, which to me they're almost like two different like two facets of so to speak, of something which is whole anyway.
So I understand exactly what you're talking about, but do you believe that people that are in either one of those fields, would they understand why you're doing what you're doing?
I don't know.
And I know you don't care, but I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, well, I think some of them, they may understand, some people may not. And I tell you why, because some people, they are very rigid, so to speak, in what they study, and they think that their methods is the only one. But hey, that's what they believe, and that's what they believe. But even staying in the psychological realm, I have seen people arguing and saying, for example, in psychology, there's two different school of thoughts, okay? There's the psychodynamic one, which is the one where psychoanalysis comes from, okay, Freud and all that, which is, in short, everything, all our trouble is because of something that happened to us in the past and is stored in the subconscious. And then there's the other train of thought, which is the cognitive behavioral therapist, which it's a different approach. They are more cognitive. They say, okay, they are not really concerned in digging down to why and when you were traumatized when you were 2 or 3 years old. They act more in the here and now, saying, okay, now try and get a different perspective about the situation and work thinking differently and behaving differently in a situation where before you were behaving in a certain way. So can you see the difference? And each one of them, not all of them, but some of them, they say, oh, my way is the right one, is the one, the more effective one. The other one is not. You see, it's funny. And even in the psychological realm, I personally think that there's a lot of truth in psychodynamic, a psychoanalytic way of working, and one doesn't exclude the other. And the cognitive behavioral therapies also are very effective. So when I work with people, I would, depending on what arises in the here and now, I might want to investigate something that happened in the past and using a psychodynamic method, or or at the same time dealing with their attitude towards that challenge now without thinking of the past. You see, I don't think that anything excludes anything else. I think that's our mind. Again, it's our ego that goes exclusivity. That's one word that makes me laugh, makes me smile. Is the ego to its highest, exclusivity. This is exclusive. And it's a mind creating artificial concept. Nothing is excluded in the universe. You think you exclude something, but it doesn't deny its existence.
Well, look. I mean, you can keep going and going, but I'll say this, and then we'll move on. There's a part of me that's sort of in my role as David France in this world, right? That is sort of like, okay. And there's another part that completely understands what you're talking about, and even can go beyond what you're talking about. And part of it has to do with maybe people don't know all of the training that I've had. And it's not training like you've had, but I've had training that would work on all of these issues that you've just described. So one of the things that I've done, and we've talked about this, is that I guess I've practiced dance therapy, but not really, I've never really had formal training. And I believe that acting and dance can actually do some of these things that you have described in your practice, particularly in like sort of when an issue comes up that is a trigger. How do you present or create or respond in a way that gets you over that or gets you around that, right? And to be able to take on a character can sometimes do that. Or if you're confronted with a situation in a theater situation, or as an actor or as a dancer, it's a way that you are can practice moving through, difficulties, right? So fortunately or unfortunately, I haven't been able to do the kind of work that I have done in the past, but I at least knew that when I was triggered over the holiday season, my mindset went, and I thought, okay, so David, you're going to have to use a method, some method that you've learned to move through this episode. So for the people that don't understand what I'm talking about, I literally emailed Luca, or texted him, and I said that I was triggered by something that he had put out in a video for Christmas. And I'll let you describe what that was. But I felt like there's this thing in America with this cartoon, or this, it's not a cartoon, it's a animated series called The Grinch That Stole Christmas. Do you know this story? So I was feeling kind of like a Grinch, right? The good thing is there's nobody else here but me. So, I didn't, no one had to experience how I felt. But tell what was the video, the Christmas video about, or can you give us an idea of what it was about?
Sure.
And why?
The video was about, the message was, the invitation was to leave, to approach Christmas and New Year, leaving all our prejudices and judgments aside. Because what stands between us and life and other people that we love, although we may not feel the love that is there yet, is because between there and us lies these prejudices and judgments. Okay? And if we are able to transcend our own prejudices and judgment, we are left with the organic, with the natural love, the flow of love, which is there. You see? So that was the message.
So how am I supposed to, so for example, you're saying get over it so that you can get to the love part. But how am I supposed to, how am I supposed to get to the love? It's not love in the traditional way that we know love. Is this right? Is this correct?
That's good. We're trying to describe the undescribable, but let's see. Love, okay. Well, if you're talking about love, romantic love, well, I wouldn't really consider it as love.
All right, that's what
it's okay. If you think, if you think that love is that feeling you have for somebody that you like, and that feeling lasts if and until the other person says no to you 1, 2, or 3 times, and when they have said no to you, or they have not reciprocated your love, you don't love them anymore, and you go from loving them to hating them. Well, I personally don't think that's love. That is a trade-off. What happened is that you were in love with a mental image of that person. You had some expectations. You were projecting something in your mind, but you weren't, that person was not in your heart. It wasn't the subject of your love. It was the object in your mind. That is actually, unfortunately, I would say, here to 2020, we haven't evolved much as a species, because that's how we love still. But romantic love is the product of a story. There's no organicity in them, and the proof is exactly that when we love somebody, we idealize them. They are our everything until they fulfill our mental image of them. But we are not even seeing them. We are embroiled in our stories, okay? There's nothing real here. To really love somebody means they have to be a subject, meaning what they are, not our mental projection, and they are in our heart. But that is a big, big work, because it means to leave our prejudices, our judgment aside and really look at them. And that means looking at how they are loving us, not as we would like them to love us, because there's this control and manipulation. It's nothing to do with love. If we are possessive, if we are jealous about somebody, guys, it's time we wake up. Here 2020, we are not children anymore. If we are possessive, we are jealous, we are not loving. We are loving a projection. We are attached to an idea, and it's ego, ego, ego. Okay? The love that I'm talking about, it's simple. It's about being present, really looking, observing, and feeling organically. And really, there's nothing more exciting, even at a physical level, in the sexual level, believe me, than that. Okay? Because we are present, we are not thinking too much. We are there with the person. But of course, and as always, I have to say, easier said than done.
Yeah.
Of course. We don't do it because we are nasty or because we are stupid. It's difficult because we have been trained, especially in the West,
Uh-huh.
Since we're kids, they tell us, use your head, think. Well, you know what? We do that very well, even too much. So we're so used to, because we are present as something, it's not that we're not present or listening, but instead of being present and listening to what is happening outside from ourselves, our concrete reality, we are listening and present to our mind, thoughts and images, our mind chattering. That's what we're present to, you see? So all is required is to acknowledge this, and then it's an awareness first, and also a little bit of discipline to question our prejudgment and judgment, and to see what's behind it, to see that it's only our idea and expectations that are going to hurt us, not what other people do. And then we exercise power of focus and presence. We literally look and connect with the person who's in front of us. And I give you an example. If somebody's challenging and we may be hurt by the fact that they haven't spoken to us in a while, or they haven't contacted us, or whatever it is, it's our expectations about how we wish that they behaved.
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Although if we leave that outside and we really look at a person and we listen to them, or maybe if we are the first one to contact them, because also if you want something, the surest way to get it is to be the source of it.
Sure.
So, but the thing is that if we leave the judgment aside and we actually look at that person and we ask ourselves, how is that person expressing her or his love towards me? We will see it. It may not be the way we wanted it. We imagined it. They may have their own way, but it's there.
Yeah, well. I mean, why am I laughing so much? I mean, it can get, it's almost like I know exactly what you're talking about, but there's still the other me, right? Or the David France operating, right? So the reason why I'm looking at you at the side eye is I can see, you know what I mean? I can see, I can see what you're.
But who are you then? You see, but this is my word, because my philosophy is very simple. I believe that people are different, yes, and unique. Circumstances are different and unique, yes. Although the dynamics is the same. We are human beings. And by human, I mean the part of David that looks at me like this when I say some things, is the human part, is the trained, conditional, educated part. Is the mental part, is the ego, who I think I am in relation to you and who I should be, is the proud, the society part of it, okay, the human part. Although there's also the being part, and the being part is our essence, it's our soul, we are spiritual being having a human experience. And you know what? People suffer, and I was one of them. That's why I'm very passionate about what I do. People suffer because the being, the essence, the pure raw energy would like to express itself in a authentic way, but sometimes it's not allowed to do it because it's caged. I call it the psychic cage, because the human conditioned, trained, educated part full of shouldn't, and all that doesn't allow it to be. It's full of rules or regulation. You see? So my work is to connect, to resonate with your essence, and then to align the human mental part with it. And it's possible. And that's when we create, so to speak, what I call aware ego, because we have an ego. I'm not talking about, I'm not one to say, oh, let's throw the ego out of the window. No, we have it. It's the window in our reality. It's our perspective in reality. We need an ego, of course, but the ego can be aware that is not better or worse than anybody else. It's aware of the fact that, you know, this is my opinion, this is my preference, is not better or worse, and I respect yours. Does it make sense? And the two can actually work in unison. Do I make any sense?
I know, I'm following you. I'm following you. It's like, but it's again, it's a very, very, like in practice, for a lot of people, it's very, very difficult, right? I think
it requires work, yes.
It requires work. You're talking to me, and I've done a lot of the work, and I still am like, you know. In other words, when I listened to your video, I had to catch myself, because I'm like, well, it seems as if I'm the one that's judging, right? Like I am in judgment. I knew that I was in judgment, and I was triggered even by the words that you were saying in the video, because that part of me was like, it's not that I didn't believe it, but there was a cynicism.
Sure,
that came up.
Yeah, but it's a never-ending work. I mean, for you know, it's evolution. We never get to define to the end line. You know, it's evolution. It's never-ending. But I think judgment, and for me, I'm so passionate about it, because I really regard it as to be the seed. I call it the seed of all suffering. Mm-hmm. But we live in a society where it is actually promoted. I mean, hey, people in a state of government, political authorities, which I refer them to the false authorities. It's amazing. It's all about judgment, because they are stupid. They are nasty. Look at the news. Everything is judgment, judgment, judgment. It's ridiculous. And we believe this judgment. But the thing about judgment, which is, whenever what happens is what we think, so he or she behaved like that, therefore he or she is stupid, bang. Mm-hmm. Or that happens, so the situation is terrible, bang. Yeah. It's like the picture, which is completely unnatural. It's not organic, 100,000%. The universe is continuously flowing and dynamic. You cannot frame it. Like I could say, David, you're stupid. Mm-hmm. What are universal lies? You could behave in a stupid manner now. You could become a genius in 5 minutes. Who am I to say? That's why we all hate judgment. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest fear. I don't know why we don't study that in psychology.
Even more so?
University. Is the fear number one, guys. We are born with two fears, of falling and of loud noises. And then they say, which is true, the two other biggest fears, according to surveys, are the fear of death, which is true, and the fear of public speaking. Yeah, but you know what? The fear of public speaking, like all other fears, spring from what? The biggest fear that humankind has invented, the fear of being judged. We are all terrified of being judged. It's ruling some people's life. Some people haven't even opened their eyes in the morning. They're already thinking, what am I wearing today? What they like me or not? What I'm going to say? What am I do? Da, 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 da. It's all in regard to other people's judgment. We are puppets. We are puppets. So, but when we realize that, but then what we do, by the way, because we are fearful of it, we are not stupid. We think, oh, the best defense is attack. So before you judge me, I judge you. And the world of the egos, if you listen to people, is always the same. It's always a game of, I am more cleverer than you,
right, than you,
or less stupid than you. It's all about that. But when we look at this dynamic, we get them out into space, and that's my job, and we really understand them, the big bubble bursts, and you're left with a cosmic laugh, and you think, oh, that's too blimey funny to be true. But that's the world we live in still, you know?
Well, it's, again, I understand both the ego, which is speaking to me now, but also I understand. This is why, I mean, just so you guys know, when I met Luca, I don't know how I met you. I think I came to a yoga center and you were there or something. And I was like, I understand. Why do I understand everything this guy's saying? Like in my mind, this is what, and you have to understand, like, I went to a traditional high school, right? So they, we had to learn chemistry and physics and all of these rigid, some called fact-based sciences, right? Yes. But I believe, knowing who I am now, I could go back and do those courses. They probably still would give me C's, C's and D's, right? For the on tests and things. But I come with a different perspective now, which is, I think, the humanity perspective. So I was trying to learn chemistry and physics and all these things, like by memorization without really having the context. I think the context, which is the human aspect of it, makes now revisiting this whole side that is science even more exciting, even though, school is over for me, most, formal school. And what I try to do is put myself in situations that would bring this out in me, right? So I try to educate myself, even when, like, let's say I'm doing something mundane, even when I'm at work, I try to put myself in a situation where I am a student versus like someone like, I got to know everything. And no. Like, that's not how I operate in the world. I operate as a student. What is it? A student of the world, right? Or student of situations. And that has helped me more so than everything. And I think it's why, even when you had the Christmas video and you're like, oh, if you're doing this, there's judgment and blah, blah, blah. I already knew what I was doing, because I had interacted with you, and I have, read, and I've done, watched videos of people like yourself describing what's happening. Let me ask you some other question that might be totally off base, but it has to do with when you say, we've talked about where you say everything is created, right? Mm-hmm. I have stumbled, or maybe not stumbled, upon videos that show people being, not exorcisms, what are they? Deliverances, they're called. Have you ever seen someone being delivered?
No.
You've got to check these videos out. You've got to check these videos out. Have you ever seen this?
No. I don't know what you mean. No.
Deliverance is when literally someone who's a man of God, someone who is connected to God, it can be done in a church with a group of people. Right. And I guess if the person is really good, he can go solo, but generally he has somebody assisting him. And there are people that come to him that feel as if they have been taken over by demons.
Okay.
And what the person does is literally talk down or talk out the demon from the person's being, right? So these I have been fascinated with, because literally when you see this person go in, right, and he doesn't lay hands on the person. That can be one of the things that they do. Yes. But you see this person go through a transformation. Yeah. Right. You see this person, like, he's asking questions like, who are you, in terms of what is the name of the demon? I had never seen videos like this. So this completely fascinates me. I'm trying to figure out where this has existed for a long time, but I didn't learn about this coming up, right?
Yeah, in the church they have exorcism. I know there's a friend of mine, he's a priest, and he told me, and I asked him, take me, I want to see it, but if you're not,
I remember you telling me that you had a friend like this.
And he says that, I mean, really they perform exorcism on people, and these people, they say maybe they may be women or girls, and they say the strength they have, it's amazing. Maybe you need 4 men to keep them down.
Right.
And they do speak in languages that they wouldn't know.
Exactly.
And he told me once even that this girl, to let's say to nullify, so to speak, the power of the priest, was telling him and the people that were there personal stuff. I mean, the things really you think, well, yeah, well.
Wait a minute. Just to be clear, the person who was going through the exorcism, was telling the priest personal things.
Yes, exactly. All yes, right. Was exactly to embarrass him. Was literally, it's almost as if he had some psychic ability.
Right.
And if you ask me, what is your view? Hey, to be honest, my honest answer is, I don't know, because I'm not an expert and I haven't assisted to any of it. Although I am there is really, I mean, that's true. We can't deny it anymore. We are spiritual being having a human experience, and we are not the only one in the universe. So in the spiritual dimension, so to speak, which is here where we are, we can't see, but there's lots of energies. But that has to be clear, guys. I personally do not, and I declare this like I always declare it publicly, I do not believe in negativity as such. I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe in a source of energy which is negative. I only believe in love. There's only one source of energy. That's what I'm not saying that this is it. I'm telling you
That's your perspective. Okay.
Exactly. So, but yes, but I think there are people on earth, and also apparently even in the spiritual realm, energies that they are, this is the difference. They're not nasty. They are of a lower awareness, lower consciousness, meaning their vision is like a child, a child, we are born and we can get up to 90 years old. Well, somebody might have a consciousness of a 3 years old, okay? But for example, as a global humanity, I think the awareness, when we talk about, like before we were talking about love and unconditional love, humanity at global, I think we're still in an infantile phase. We think we're so advanced, but I don't think we are, because we talk about love and we go in war even. We go to war in the name of peace and love. I mean, hello. It's like, I want to improve my eyesight and I put my finger in my eyes. I mean, come on. We are funning ourselves if we do these things. But anyway, so because we are not really so evolved as we think, there's also probably people and energy even less evolved. So I don't think they're nasty. I think they are troubled. They are traumatized, they are ignorant, you call it as you want it, but they're not demonic as such. But because of their trouble, they're angry maybe, and yes, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they actually do possess some people, but I've been saying that these people, they're already, I think, weak. They don't really know who they are, they're weak, and maybe they have already some psychological imbalances. But that's my theory. But to be honest,
and look, I'm going to send you link to this videos. This guy is phenomenal. And what it also makes me think about, because again, I was raised, I mean, my grandparents were in the church, in the Black church, Protestant or Southern Baptist, but I think my mother is not necessarily a believer, but my father is, depending, I mean, even though he has a background in divinity, attended divinity school. So, but I think what it's made me realize is to re-examine the idea of God in sin, okay, and what that means, right? And how it's playing itself out now versus, some of the things that, the stories that are in the Bible, right? How it played out within the Bible. It just, when you see these videos, and you guys, I don't know if you can go on YouTube and see these. There are people, very young people. There's a young guy doing it, like he's 25. He's going in there and, doing this sort of, not exorcism. Exorcism is, I think, closer to Catholicism. I'm not sure. When I think when you deliver somebody, I think it's more Protestant. I don't know if it's research, but you got to take a look, because it makes me think. And the fact that you told me the story about the friend that's a priest, right? You told me that when we first met. Right. So here I am, full circle 360.
You need on YouTube.
And I'm thinking, why am I watching these videos again? Right. Like, so in other words, there's something that this is my gut feeling. There's something that there's something that we've discussed. There's some knowledge that we're sort of circling around that has a direct link to what they're doing, whether it be energy, the ability to see the unseen, metaphysical knowledge, right? And it plays out differently for different people.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. But one thing that again, my opinion, this is my disclosure, is my opinion is not, I'm not saying it is. Although from a purely metaphysical perspective, we create, mind creates, we create everything. And I'm telling you, this is not theory I'm talking about. This is my life, for example, many years ago. I used to literally attract a car accident, angry people, people that would steal the stereo car in my car, my wallet, so on and so forth. Nowadays, these things do not happen to me anymore, okay? I do not meet angry people. I don't argue with people. People do not steal anything from me. As a matter of fact, the last 3 times that I lost my mobile phone and my wallet, it returned to me intact. Believe me, I'm not going to tell you the stories, but it's amazing. But one thing that I can tell you is, you know why? Because I used to believe many years ago in nasty people, in untrustworthy people, and in enemies. And life to me was not a friendly place. My belief was materializing in my immediate universe those beliefs. Nowadays, I do believe that everybody is a spiritual being. Everybody is a spark of life and is pure and perfect as it is and is doing its best. And life is working for and through me, not against me. And you know what? I'm not just saying belief, because it's not. This consciousness, this awareness is producing results. But this is to say that be careful what you believe. If you believe in nasty people, if you believe in the devil, boy oh boy, you will meet maybe nasty people, you will meet maybe the devil. If you don't believe it, who knows?
Look, I just think, I just think it's just interesting. It makes life more, I'm more interested in life now today than I have ever been, right? So it makes even situation like COVID.
We are living in a wonderful time. We are living an amazing time. We have the opportunity now to really go in. Everything is stopped. Do it now. Work on yourself and look at your ghosts and your suffering. It's only your negative judgment and prejudgment about yourself, others, and life. And when you realize that all your suffering is due to your wrong thinking, meaning not seeing what is and not recognizing the perfection and the beauty of life and yourself and others, there you have it. There you have it.
For someone who doesn't know even how to take the first step, let's just say, okay, they have judgment. What's one little thing that they can do in order to move that in a different direction? Is there anything that they can, when you say wrong thinking, people don't even know that they have wrong thinking.
Okay, try just consider this. Consider this. I know for the ego goes is screaming, saying, no, Luca is saying something terrible. Well, but this is the truth. Consider that it is never, and I repeat, never, what happens to you or what other people do or don't do or say or not say that makes you upset. It's what you tell yourself about what happened or didn't happen, what they did or didn't do, what they said or didn't say. And I repeat it until you get it. So the next step is easy. Look at your thinking. What are you thinking? What are you telling yourself about anything yourself? And you know what it is. If you're somebody suffering like I was, you're not speaking kindly about yourself or others. You're criticizing, you're judging. So recognize that. The first step is recognize that, but then do not judge yourself for judging everybody. It's simply because you've been conditioned and trained to do that. So it's not you actually that is creating suffering. It's your mental conditioning. I repeat, it's not you, it's your mental conditioning that you have been trained to believe. So you are a believer, but you are believing a lie. So open your mind and look at what is in front of you without a commentary. Tell yourself, I want to really see this person, see this situation. And if you really cannot stay away from telling yourself something about it, train yourself to tell yourself the opposite about what you're saying. It's work, it's an exercise, but you will see, and you will do it all the time. How many times you have been upset about something and then you change your story and you feel better? Let's say somebody let you down and then you tell yourself, or maybe it's out of pride, but you use the same dynamic to steer yourself in a different direction. Say, but anyway, I really didn't need that, or I really didn't want to do that. And you start feeling better. If you've done it once, you can do it all the time. That's how we do it. It's our mind plays tricks on us. So the first thing, realize that, listen to these words, go in and see how it applies to you. And once you start seeing that, once the trick is to acquire a meta awareness, meaning the awareness in you, who you truly are, has to start noticing this dynamic, and you start to identify. You watch your thinking. You realize that you're the watcher, you're not your thinking. And that's the first step into awareness. Because until you do that, you are in the washing machine with the thinking and with the emotion.
Yeah, you're right there in it. It's like you're separating yourself.
You can't see the way out from this maze. But once you heard this, start to watch your thinking and your emotion and see how they are interlinked. And then it's almost as if you see this dynamic from above. And when you see it, and you ask yourself, who am I? You are that something, that which, pure consciousness that is noticing all this. And the more you do this, the more you grow, the more you become the master of the house, of your temple, the more you realize that you are a spiritual being. You're not a mental being or emotional being, because you're not your thoughts and you're not your emotions. You're that which is looking at them. And if you choose, you can choose to believe them or not. Or believe the one that make you feel good and not the one that make you feel bad.
There's a lot of work, you guys. It's a lot of work, you guys. You guys, I mean, look.
Contact me, that's my job, I mean.
Look, it's a lot of work. But again, I've had some training in this space. And I'm constantly learning, right? So that's the whole point, you know. Is there anything else? What's going on now with you? You're in Italy. When are you going to try to get back to London, or what's your time?
Ideally, I would like to go to London in January. I've been there for 3 months, but I did the first lockdown, I was in London, and now the second lockdown, I'm in Italy. So, but I don't know if it's going to be January, February, but whenever. But at the moment, I'm in Italy.
Well, okay. And if people want to reach you, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, on my website or Facebook, Luca Occelli, Facebook, or my website is www.lucaoccelli.com. And yeah, if anybody is interested, by the way, I'm running a course, 6 meetings of 1 hour and a half each, starting from Thursday, the 11th, I think, but you have to check on the website.
Mm-hmm.
They're online anyway on Zoom. So yes, and I couldn't do them for cheaper. I mean, it's a very economic price, because I know it's a challenging time for everybody. But it's exactly, they are designed to put into practice what we're talking about, to develop presence, self-awareness, and to work on our mindset. Because
when did I meet you? When did I meet you? Years ago now, right?
Oh, it was at the Tara Yoga Center in London, and it was, you know what? 9-10 years. It's a long time.
Really? I've known you that long, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely 7-8 years at least.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
And since I met you, there's a lot that's happened. There's a lot that's happened, right, friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Meaning you're in a whole. I'm not saying you're in a whole new space, but I mean, I think at the time we were both developing. Right, we were in the midst of developing whatever it is we were on the path for, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course, every time I listen to you, it's like little. I feel my brain feels weird, right? It's like, why is there like a hum going on in my brain when he's talking? Why is there a hum? Anyway, we'll figure that out, or maybe we won't. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
I will get this up as soon as possible. I have like a backlog now because I'm trying to get so many done in the holiday season.
That's great. Keep it going.
Yeah. I say during this time next year, it will be completely different situation. So, and I am in agreement with you. I think it's a terrific time, a terrific opportunity, but I think you have to employ some of the techniques that you're talking about. If this is the first time you've dealt with something big like this in terms of COVID, or, you know what I mean, right? You got to really
Absolutely.
put yourself out there.
It's an opportunity.
Anyway, look.
You choose to see it that way, of course, but you see, we could see problems or opportunities.
I see it as an opportunity.
Exactly.
I see it as an opportunity and knew it from the very beginning. You know, anyway, so look, I'll let you go. Take care of yourself. Enjoy. I'll be in touch with you. And, you know, again, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.